Do you ever say something so often that you just got to say to yourself, you know what, enough is enough. One more time. So many covers, so little cash. Stay tuned for the video.
Anachronic.
Hi comic book guys and gals, I'm Joe and welcome to Anachronic Comics. So this week's top cover from the 1960s is Detective Comics number 359, Batman, the $1 Million debut of Batgirl. With a cover date of January 1967, it was published on November 29, 1966. Now, it is a key issue because it's the first appearance and introduction of a new Batgirl. We'll get to that in a minute. Now, the cover is a great show with Batgirl effectively bursting up the middle, framed by Batman and Robin. And it's based on a script by Gardner Fox. This cover was drawn by Carmine Infantino and inked by Murphy Anderson, the two people that I consider DC's #1 cover team for that time. Now, Barbara Gordon has a pretty unspectacular start as Batgirl. So Barbara goes to a costume party dressed as Batgirl. She sees Killer Moth attacking Bruce Wayne and goes into action to save him. She decides to continue as Batgirl and, to Robin's dismay, interferes with the plans of the dynamic duo to capture the killer gang. Now, a bit of trivia. As the story goes, in the mid-1960s, editor Julie Schwartz was asked to develop a new female character that could be used in the Batman television show. And the result was the librarian daughter of Commissioner James Gordon fighting crime in a batsuit. Now, one interesting thing, Barbara wasn't the original Batgirl. Introduced in Batman 139, the first Batgirl with a hyphen was Betty Kane, the niece of the then current Batwoman, Kathy Kane. Now, Betty's origin was established in the tradition of other Golden Age heroes, with a few panels giving a somewhat contrived explanation of the origin. Now, as the story goes, both Batwoman and Batgirl were introduced as love interests for Batman and Robin, so that readers would stop questioning the relationship between Bruce and Dick. Right, really. Now, as public mores changed, both Batwoman and Batgirl with the hyphen disappeared in 1966. And the new hyphen-less Batgirl debuted as Barbara Gordon, the daughter of Commissioner Gordon, back in the January 1967 issue of Detective Comics. Now, with the new Batgirl movie in the offing, Detective Comics number 359 has become a desirable comic book. There are only 4 copies of a 9.8 in the CGC census with an FMV of $140,000. There are 13 copies of a 9.6 with an FMV of $66,000 and 20 copies of a 9.4 with an FMV of $15,500. First of 2 series this week is GWEN-VERSE number 1. The second is Punisher #1, a new series. No premium cover this week, but here are the honorable mentions. The first cover on my honorable mention list is Nubia and the Amazons #6, the cover C by Juliette Neca. It's the International Women's Day cardstock variant for $4.99. Now I'm loving the recent covers of this series, and Neca's portrait of Nubia on the cover is a feast of color, and her expression, I'd say, is a bit sultry. Next up is Punisher #1, the Ross Timeless variant for $5.99. Like Ross's prior Timeless variants, his portrayal of the Punisher has that Ross magic. Of interest is that the Punisher is wearing his traditional skull insignia, not the new whatever it is insignia. Next up is Star Wars, the Crimson Reign #3, the Tyler Kirkham variant B for $3.99. Now, how difficult is it to show Yoda as a warrior, an entity of wisdom and strength? Well, Kirkham makes it look easy. Yoda's expression says it all. Next is another Star Wars related comic book, Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser Halcyon Legacy #2, the EM Gist cover at $3.99. Now, I haven't been reading the Star Wars book, so I don't know who these characters are, but I am drawn to this cover. The last honorable mention for this week is X-Men Legends #12, the Carlos Gomez variant for $3.99. Now, Gomez's rendition of Nightcrawler exploding from the non-traditional purple explosion in the background is just terrific. Now, comic book guys and gals, before we get to the top 5, please do me a favor and help get this video to others by clicking on that thumbs up button. Thanks. Now, on to my top 5 covers for New Comic Book Day, March 9th, 2022. Number 5 is from DC, Titans United #7, the cover B by Cale New. It's a cardstock variant for $4.99. Now I am loving these cityscape scenes from New, with the neon signs announcing the character in the background. This rendition of Starfire is especially striking. Number 4 is from Image, Radiant Red #1, the Will Jack variant B for $3.99. I love this cover, but who is Radiant Red? The super-heroic world of Radiant Black is expanding with this title. This is a spin-off series, and it stars a former foe of Radiant Black's, who's struggling to balance her life as a criminal turned superhero. Now, the synopsis says, to her students, Salome Son is a diligent middle school teacher. To her fiancé and parents, she's the rock of their family. To the world, She's Radiant Red, a criminal turned matter-absorbing hero. Sounds pretty cool. Number 3 is another Punisher cover. Punisher number 1, the BATUAN Unknown Comics exclusive variant B, with a cover price of $5.99. Now, wearing his new insignia, there is nothing much to say other than the Punisher took care of business. His expression is priceless. For number 2, I have the first of 2 Batman-themed covers in the top 5. I Am Batman number 7, the cover B by Francesco Mattina. It's a cardstock variant with a cover price of $4.99. Now, this is a true work of art. The new Batman in NYC with the Statue of Liberty behind him and bats swirling all around. Just a beautiful cover by Mattina. Finally, my number 1 top cover for New Comic Book Day, March 9th, 2022 is Detective Comics number 1056, the cover B by Lee Bermejo. It's a cardstock variant with a cover price of $5.99. Just wow. The anguish of Batman holding Robin's lifeless body while the city around him burns to the ground. Bermejo shows an emotional Batman who has clearly lost the battle and maybe the war. This has to be one of the best covers of 2022 and my number 1 cover this week. Now, remember to leave a comment on whether you would buy any one of these covers I picked or any other based solely on the cover art. Thanks for watching. Be well, and I'll see you soon.